Good evening, everybody, and Happy New Year. It was wonderful to hear the Toastmaster of the evening's introduction and the words of wisdom, which I also consider as beautiful nuggets, food for thought, and perhaps even some table topics that we can discuss today or another day. I'm very pleased today to be offering a workshop on the topic of table topics. You are Toastmasters, most of you, so you're familiar with what a table topic is. You may also know that table topics is actually a registered trademark of Toastmasters International. Another equivalent for that would be simply an impromptu speech. A wise man once said, start with the why. That would be Simon Sinek. Why do we even bother doing table topics? I will open this question also for interactive answers from the audience, from the online audience, because we do have 1 hour together, but I will bore you to death if I were to hold a monologue for an entire hour. So why do we do table topics? Joseph, unmute yourself. What's the point of a table topic?
Well, at one point, someone is going to approach you and come up with a question, and you need to provide an answer there and then. So impromptu speeches help us prepare ourselves to answer those immediate questions.
Can you dig a bit deeper and tell me what context you're thinking of in this case?
So if you are at your desk and your boss approaches and asks, okay, how shall we handle situation of improving team engagement? You need to provide an answer. Sometimes a good answer is, I don't have an answer right now, but I will look into it and get back to you. But that is not always possible. So you need to actually be able to answer there and then. And impromptu speaking helps us prepare for these situations.
That's exactly where I was getting at, actually. And just for the audience, this was not a prepared Q&A. I wanted to get to the topic of table topics. Impromptu speaking is a skill that we rehearse, practice, hone at the Toastmaster Club meetings, but it's a skill that we need in every aspect of our lives, whether it's for talking with friends and family, and also, and quite importantly, talking to your boss and coming up with an intelligent, if not structured, if not insightful answer. And yes, there is a way to prepare for that. And yes, there are tips and tricks that you can put into practice to come across as insightful, relevant, impactful, you name it. But at least to feel that you've held your ground and that you've provided a good answer, whatever good may be to you. You may know this dreaded ballot. Now we're approaching contest season at Toastmasters International. And at Toastmasters, as you know, there are 3 disciplines: evaluation speeches, table topics, and the International Speech Contest, the Queen discipline. For each of those contests, there is such a thing as a judge's ballot, which means when you're up there at the club level, at the area level, division, or district level, you'll have a panel of judges who will listen carefully to what you've said, and they will have to grade your speech as objectively, of course it's very subjective, as objectively as possible. What you may see in the judge's ballot is there is a structure to it. What you will also see here is that the majority of your grading will be basically on the speech development and the effectiveness. And why is that important? Well, it guides a little bit the content, the agenda of what we'll be talking about today. I encourage you to download, print, review, study this judge's ballot because it will give you some clues about what makes a good impromptu speech effective. So here we are today, and the goal is we want to become a table topics master. How do we do that? Well, I told you earlier, there is such a thing as being able to prepare for a table topic. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Who can tell me what kind of figure of speech that is? Easy. It's an alliteration. What is the purpose of an alliteration? It does help make the message a little bit stickier, a bit more memorable, a bit more rhythmic. There are some tools, some little things you can put into practice to make your speech that much more memorable. Now, before you go for it with your table topic, you walk on stage, you're given that topic. First of all, keep in mind that everybody else is going to get that same topic. So you're all in an equal footing. And it's just like this analogy with the bear, right? You don't have to run fastest. You just have to run faster than the last guy. When you get that topic, just breathe and don't panic. It's okay. You got this. You really do. If you can, just give yourself some time. There is a rumor in the Toastmasters circuit that you have 30 seconds between the moment the topic is presented to you and your name is pronounced and when the clock will start when you have to start speaking. This is just a rumor. I haven't seen it anywhere in the rule book. The clock normally starts at your first verbal or nonverbal cue and within a reasonable amount of time. Be prompt in starting, get started, and go with that first idea that comes to your mind, and then kind of go elaborate around that. What's really important, and this is going to be one of the main ideas and main key takeaways in this workshop, is that you do have to assert your point of view, meaning you do want to bring a message across. Try to think of any rule of three, whether it's for your structure or for the figures of speech that you want to insert in your speech, such as triads and so on. Repetitions are great. Think as well as you look at your audience, what's in it for me from the point of view of the audience? What does the audience want to get from that? So know your audience before you deliver your speech. Of course, here I'm referring to a Toastmaster audience. It will be a different set of message or speech if you're in a business context or in a circle of friends context, but adapt your speech to the audience. If you're at a loss for ideas, just try to extrapolate with the 5 whys, who, what, where, when, etc., and how. Maybe that gives you an idea of which direction your speech can go. Time management is a killer. It would be a real shame to come up with a brilliant speech with a beautiful structure, nice transitions, great message, call to action, and be 1 second over time, don't you think? Think about some quotes, some stories that you're willing to share with the audience that will make your table topic, your impromptu speech super memorable, and really get creative. Just be you, just be an enhanced version of you on stage. And don't hesitate to draw from personal experience. And we'll talk about this, of course, in this workshop, but the best recipe for that is not only practice, practice, practice. It is super important. It's also feedback, 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 because that's how you can also grow. And this is what we do at Toastmasters. So I mentioned we will have those 3 main, pillars in the agenda for today. After each of these sections, I'll take a bit of a break, and I will really invite you, the audience, the online audience, to come up on stage and try out a topic which ideally lends itself quite well to the point that we will have just talked about. After each table topic, if you want, I can give some quick feedback impressions about, what was really great and where you could take this further. Please note that some of those topics, and this is really deliberate, some of these topics are real life contest topics that have been presented in the past. And the idea here is to get your take on this topic, but also share with you, by the way, the winning speech had made this and that point or was effective because this and that. Give you also some additional ideas and food for thought about what worked well for you as well and how you could take this maybe even further to the next level. Any questions so far? Any expectations? Anything you'd like to shout out at this point in time? You see the room is muted. Please feel free to unmute it so that any spontaneous interjections are caught by the microphone.
The room is not muted, so don't worry. We can hear you.
Sorry, one camera.
And I think everyone agrees with your proposal.
Okay, fine. Then let's start with what I consider the most important aspect of the impromptu speech, the table topic is, what is your message? What is your point of view? What is your key message? So here you can go all over the place in your speech. If you're frazzled, if you're nervous, it can happen. You can kind of think out loud about what do you really think about the topic that was just presented to you. At the end of the day, what you can try to do towards the end of your speech, and that's important, is to keep it simple. In summary, in conclusion, here's my message. Here's my call to action. That's what the CTA stands for. I love the image of the tree because I love the image of being rooted in, okay, you've got this with your structure, your backbone, your transitions and everything. But quite often you'll see that when you're given a topic, you have the opportunity to elevate the topic to a next level, to bring it to a new dimension, maybe to turn the question around. I'll give you an example of that. My friend Ineke Vermeulen, who's also a member of the French Club, also a member of Toastmasters, had been given a topic at a German table topics contest, which she won. And the topic she was given went along the lines of, when I want to be creative, I do. When I want to be creative, I do. And she talked about, of course, the topic of creativity and how it works. And she had the brilliant idea towards the end of her speech to turn the question around and to say, when I want to be creative, I do nothing. Because when I do nothing is when I get most creative. So play with the words as well and own the words in that topic and feel free to take it to a different level. You are, of course, evaluated and assessed on how you answered the question. So if you're given a topic about zoology, please don't talk necessarily about AI. Stay within the topic, but be creative in elevating the speech, playing with the words, and most importantly, bringing a message to the table topic. Here's for the first part. So now I want to get to the first exercises and open the floor to the first round of table topics. Who do we have as a volunteer for the first set of table topics? And the objective here, of course, is to bring a message to your table topic. Do we have a volunteer?
Yes, we have.
Great.
I wanted to
Oh, message.
Do you hear me?
I can hear you. What's your name?
Actually, I had a question.
I'm afraid I do not hear you very well. Could you get closer to the mic?
Is it better?
Yes, much better. What's your name again?
Pragya, like Prague plus ya.
Love it. I'm asking because I would like to start a little training here and get you guys used to having the topic and the name and the topic and the name presented to you just like in the context, so that it feels natural on contest day, okay? Pragya, are you ready? No pressure.
No, all good. Please continue.
Okay. All right, I'll give you this one. Pragya, Life balance. Life balance, Pragya.
It's a very beautiful question, or not a question, a statement. Life balance. Do I have to follow the four things you said? Okay.
It's yours now.
I think that is one of the reasons why a lot of migrants come to Germany, because somewhere they have a beautiful life with family and friends, but they miss on life balance. They miss on having balance between work, personal life, and having free time for themselves. I honestly never knew what this means, because I was a workaholic, working 60 hours every week and wanted to achieve so many things. At the age of 20, I dreamt of becoming a CEO and did not think about, is this really what I wanted? Is my body and mind and soul fit enough to do this? Or it's just because it's a goat ride, or it's a goat marathon? What does it mean? Means we all have no idea why we are doing it, but we are rushing like goat, saying meh means I'm also following you. And somehow we all are in this journey. So I would like to ask you guys, what do you think about life balance? Have you achieved it? And are you happy with it? Michaela.
Thank you very much, Pragya. So you did some lovely things in your table topic. But first of all, you reiterated the question, and you opened with, the fact that it was a beautiful question. So you at least already put out there an opinion about the topic that was presented to you. I like how the first thought you went to was about, a little bit from personal experience, presumably as well, when you were talking about it was a reason why so many migrants come to Germany. So here you could elaborate actually on, the assumption, the underlying assumption that, work-life balance maybe is slightly different or more or less applicable in India versus in Germany. Sorry, I'm assuming you come from India. Am I correct? Okay. You then continued also with a little bit of a personal story, and this is a great hook, a great bait for the audience to kind of be with you on that adventure and think about, well, where is she going with this topic? So we hear about your story and we connect with you. So you really connect with the audience when you do that. You connected even further with the audience when you started asking those rhetorical questions, about the meaning of work-life balance and all those questions that you, in fact, everybody asks themselves in their early career, where is this going? We also have no idea. We definitely connect to that notion. And you got us in with the emotions as well, that we're all on this journey. So this inclusiveness really put the audience in your pocket with that. And you ended again with a rhetorical question. So that was quite effective. You had a pause in the very beginning of your speech, and I'm suspecting that you weren't quite sure where you were going with that. In case you were wondering if this was bad, this was great, because you had, I think, a question just before that, and it allowed us to tune in to your speech. Pauses are also a great way to let the audience catch up with our train of thought sometimes and mark transitions between one point and the next. So these can be used very effectively in a impromptu speech as well. And what you could do even more to achieve, your objective here is reiterate the message at the end, whether you believe life balance is an important thing and should be applied everywhere, or some kind of call to action. So really reinforce that message to bring us along in your impromptu speech. So well done. Round of applause for Pragya and her table topics. That was great. Do we have another volunteer for the first part on message?
Michaela, may I ask a question? I
Please.
couldn't follow kiss part, where it should be.
No. Those were come live. Sorry. Yeah. Some thoughts about what you can think about when you're talking about the message. You know, you don't want to like spray it and hope it sticks. You just want to like narrow it down to a simple idea that you can follow. So KISS stands for keep it sweet and simple, in case the acronym was not clear. So keep that story, that speech sweet and simple. Don't put 10 messages in your speech. You can talk about, maybe we'll get to that in a minute, pro con summary, but the idea is not to go all over the place, but to like then streamline it to that red thread of thought, so that the one message of your speech really sticks. Does that make sense now?
Thank you so much.
Sure. Who's our next victim? Sorry, volunteer.
You can't see me. Now you can.
Yeah, now we can. What's your name?
Asad.
Asad?
Yes,
All right, Asad, are you ready?
I believe so.
Okay. Asad, the color red. The color red. Asad.
Running just to get that train, and then I see this color red. Sometimes I was wishing to see this color in the morning when I woke up as a kid, and I was always waiting to see this color red, because I had planted this plant of roses, and I was just waiting and waiting to turn it red, because it was always green. I was waiting to see it open and reddish. But at that moment, when I was running and I was in very hurry, that red color was not one of my favorites, because I had to stop. I was getting late for an interview and I had to stop, and I missed my train. So at that moment, I learned one lesson. There's some things which you actually love from the very childhood can sometimes be the most hateful thing in the whole world. So nothing stays constant. And this color red reminds us that be practical, just be practical, and don't bind yourself with something a lot. This is also something which I take in the other aspects of my life. Not just the color red. It's all about the people or the things or the places. We shouldn't stick with them. Thank you very much.
Well done. Thank you very much, Asad. Lots of things I liked about your speech. You were very natural in opening and giving us that emotion about running with the train, and then introducing right away that color red. You took us then in a slightly different direction about like wishing to see the color as a kid, and then you were talking about the plants, and then blending in, you know, that favorite thing, and then the lesson. But you really got us on the story, on the emotions. Definitely, you're a great storyteller. So that's, I think, your superpower that you can hone in table topics, is delivering an impromptu speech as a form of a story. And you definitely had a bit of a call to action as well in there. So well done on placing that message about, you know, being practical and not biting yourself and so on. You then brought back that call to action, adding another element about like people, and then a color again. Probably that went a little too much. Keep it at that thought, you know, make that one important message perhaps sink in. That is your message. That is your call to action. Keep it streamlined to that one thing. Yeah, how did you feel about that?
Yeah, this is all I just thought in some seconds. So great improvisation on my side, I would say. I'm
Yeah.
surprised.
Yeah. Just as a reference, out of curiosity, this was a real division, I think, table topics topic. And there were a couple of really great speeches that I heard during that day. And one of them was about a gentleman who was saying, you know, red is definitely not his favorite color. When he gets married one day, he wants to wear a green suit because it's like so different and so on. So he went all about the color palette tangent. And another speaker was referring, you know, culturally how red evokes different things in different culture, love, passion, danger, or luck in different Eastern or Asian cultures. And how at least it's a color that doesn't leave anybody indifferent. It's a color that is really striking, and the emotions that it evokes within her and so on. So it's a great topic. I love it about, you know, just going on emotions with a color such as that. So yeah, thank you very much and well done. For the sake of time, I think we should move to the second part, which I believe is a super important part in this table topics workshop, which is the structure. I mentioned that a huge part of your evaluation will be based on how you structure your speech, so the flow. There's different aspects to that. There's, well, the typical structure that you can bring to a topic that you are given. For example, 1, 2, 3. What are the things you like about living in Germany? Well, 1, 2, 3. Another way to approach the same question, for instance, would be to say the good, better, best. So I really love quality of life in Germany. It's fantastic. What I like even more about Germany is the people. And the most favorite thing I have about Germany is, you know, the culture, whatever. You can do the opposite. Bad, worse, worse. So life in Germany, the one thing I really don't like about Germany is how strict things are. And what I like even less about that are the taxes I have to pay. But the thing I detest the most in living in Germany is the cold. So you can take it in those directions and do a crescendo or a decrescendo on your structure. The other possible structure you can bring here is the pro-con summary structure. So, you know, how do you like living in Germany? Well, on the plus side, there's this and this and that. On the downside, there's this and this and that. All in all, in summary, I think it's a pretty cool thing to live in Germany. Another way you can talk about a topic is doing the past, present, future. By the way, for that, spoiler alert, because this is more of the third section, you can really use the stage to support that structure. If you move from, so when the audience is looking at you, their left to their right, you can say, when I was a kid, I was like this. Then as an adult, I think that. As an old person, I believe I will be like that. So that's a nice way to present a topic as well. And you may have interviewed recently, and if you have, I hope you know and you're familiar with the STAR method. You can bring a storytelling structure to your answer. If you do that, I do recommend that you, especially in a business context, present it in the so-called STAR model, which stands for what was the situation, or, you know, the trigger point? What was the task? Like, what did you do about it? And what was the task? What had to be done? What was your action? What did you do about it? What was the result? And finally, what was your reflection around that? We often miss out on the reflection, but it's perhaps the most important piece of that STAR message. Now that's for the, you know, the tripod, the stable structure that you want to bring to allow the judges, the audience to follow your speech. How you do that as well, it would be really great if you could package it with a nice little ribbon and offer an introduction. It's like, I'd like to begin by saying, you know, this is a great topic, like you did, Pragya. And then maybe saying, first of all, let's bear in mind so-and-so. The next thing I'd like to talk about, or secondly, and then furthermore, and then provide examples along the way. So to illustrate this point, let's, you know, how about this and that? A case in point is this thing. if you do a pro-con thing, you know, whereas we have that, we also have to mention this. So think of all those transitions which help, they're kind of like road signposts. They enable your audience to follow your train of thought as you move along your speech. All right, so that's for the theory. Bear in mind the structure, structure, structure. Find a structure that works for your topic. And then really kind of, if you have that in mind, it's so much easier to finish your table topic and then lean on that structure that you've put yourself in mind. Who do we have as a volunteer for part 2 on structure?
Hi, Kilian. Yeah, with an L, with just a single L, not double L. A lot of people write it with a double L.
Kilian?
Yeah.
Like Kylian Mbappé?
Yes, but with an I, and not as good.
Sorry,
but
I'm biased. I'm French. Yay. All right. Welcome on stage, Kilian. Thank you for volunteering. Are you ready?
yes.
All right. Robots and AI, are they job creators or job killers? Robots and AI, are they job creators or job killers? Kilian.
Robots and AI, are they job creators or are they job killers? That's a very interesting question. I hear this a lot, yeah, especially in my job. So I work in a customer relationship environment, and that's where we get a lot of information daily. We consume a lot of information. The business that we're in is a lot more transactional nowadays. Yeah. So back when I was starting off as a salesperson, everything was very much relationship based. You go out with your customer, you drink, you build a relationship, and then the customer buys from you. It's not necessarily all about the price. Now, if I see those transactions going down, most of them are price, price, price. And that basically means if I don't have a relationship, all I'm exchanging is information. So information then gets more and more. We have a lot less people to process this information. So what do we use? What kind of tools can we use to manage our time better and really make the best decision? So in my opinion, if you ask me, what I've seen on a day-to-day basis is AI and all the technology actually helps us to process information. The person who is doing the decision, making the decision, is still me at the end of the day. So if anyone asks me what my opinion is about this, I usually say AI is something that we should embrace, yeah, rather than be fearful, because if we are fearful, we don't interact with things. And that usually tends then to be problematic if we just close up rather than embracing new ways of interacting with such a technology. And that has been shown in the past. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kilian, for your take on the topic of robots and AI, if they were killers or creators of jobs. I think that this was a topic that was begging for a pro-con summary type of structure. So I was kind of like putting it on a silver platter, like go for it. But you took a different angle to your structure. You kind of went into your personal experience, which is always good to help us relate with you and your personal experience. We all come from different walks of life. We have different jobs. We have different ways of seeing the topic. So it's lovely to hear a new perspective, perhaps, on this topic. And you gave us concrete examples, which are also super powerful about how and why you believe what you believe, because you did give us your message, your take, your opinion on that about, you know, using it intelligently and, you know, embracing it, because if we're fearful, it you know, it doesn't help us interact. And yeah, you kind of brought it back in the conclusion, actually, with the sharing in the past kind of thing. Yeah, so you also had a bit of a past and the present structure. You could have also used then the past, present, and then future to just keep that good old rule of 3 and keep it memorable also for the audience. So if you were given that topic again, you could think about going deeper into that structure and making that clear, making those transitions clear. And most importantly, I didn't keep a track of time. I don't think you went over time, which means that you could have perhaps taken 10 seconds to summarize and conclude and reinforce, like do a home run with that message of yours. So like in conclusion, you know, there are some things to be fearful about of AI, but all in all, it's a wonderful opportunity for us and we should embrace it and, you know, kind of call to action kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cool, but well done. It was a lovely take on the topic of AI. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and your insight.
Thank you so much.
Okay, one more topic on the structure. Who do we have as volunteer?
I would love to do that.
Fabulous. Are you gonna love that one?
Let's some warm up. So please give me a warm topic.
You're gonna love that one, actually. I had it on my tip of my head. All right. Sorry, remind me your name.
My name is Irina.
Irina?
Irina.
Okay. Real table topic contest. Irina, what inspires you the most? What inspires you the most? Irina.
Inspiration is a great topic for me. I have always been admiring people who inspire me and I try to follow them. That is how I was looking for my mentors and for my partners. Because if you have a close contact with the person who inspires you, then you can also get all the tips and the methods and the life hacks from this person. So I tried to move as close to this person as possible. Sometimes I was too close and couldn't take a broader look. That was in the past. What I'm doing nowadays, I observe these people from some distance and see in which way, in which direction they go. And if we go in the same direction, then I will join them. And then I will talk to these people like Greek philosophers talk to their disciples and learn how to find and to broaden the inspiration. And now I will move a little bit in the future. What shall we do? What shall be in the future? I think in the future, I want to inspire people myself. I already have some experience, and with Toastmasters, I learned how to transfer this experience into words and into the ideas. And I want to transfer my experience into actions so that I am followed by people who need the experience and my inspiration. There are some people who will observe me and follow me on my way. And perhaps I will also read about some people who will be mentoring other people and inspiring other people instead of me when I'm gone. Thank you.
Don't go anywhere. Go back.
Yeah, stay on stage. I'm warm up now. Thank you.
No, congratulations. And thank you very much on the great take on this topic. I was a real club contest actually topic. I love how you went right into it, by the way. There was no hesitation. You just went for it, which is fantastic if you've got that creativity. You're welcome to take a bit of a breather. First of all, if you're in a contest situation, let the contest master exit the stage before you start. It's extremely distracting when somebody's still walking and somebody's already talking. So give them that time to walk off the stage before you go for your topic, right? And you know, you stated your opinion right from the beginning. That was great, and how you talked right into like the whole mentors and how you applied this inspiration driver for your mentors and your partners. Could have actually gone into the personal one there, but you didn't. I like how you took then the structure about the past, the present, and the future, and you definitely obviously used the stage to support and illustrate this train of thought. So that was super effective. Could have gone even more examples on how you did that or what was so effective about that, or tell us a little bit of a story of how you got too close for that, maybe, or things like that. And I liked how you took then this whole experience and inspiration to the Toastmasters. So, you know, you knew your audience, and you knew what the audience wants to hear, perhaps, and how this translates into, you know, the words that become ideas, the ideas that become action. I love this crescendo of actionable things. That was really great. I'm afraid you were a bit far away from the mic towards the end, where I kind of missed the end of your speech. But here again, I don't think you went over time, and you could really just, you know, pause, summarize, and then hand it back at the end with reinforcing your message after you've done such a great speech with such a lovely structure. So well done, and thank you very much, Irina.
Thank you.
Okay. I think I will then move on to the next section so that we can practice a little bit more. That's what I call the sprinkles and the sparkles. Now, in French, for those who speak French, I call it les froufrous et les tralala. It's, you know, you've got your toolbox, your toolkit, you've got your structure, you've got your message. Those are the basics. But what makes the difference between a Picasso and a Michelangelo? It's they use different colors, they use different paintbrushes, they use different palettes and techniques, but they have equally maybe effective works of art. It's just a different way to connect that emotion with the audience. So this is where the artistry, I want to say, comes into place. This is also where the experience and the practice comes into play. And when you do a table topic speech, an impromptu speech, yes, you want to have that red thread. Yes, you want to have that message and that structure and all that. But what's going to make also your message super memorable is everything that you pour into it. Now, that can be the stories that you pour into that. We talked about how important it is to have personal stories, whether from work or from personal life, come into play there. What's great and effective as well is when you use quotes. So have yourself a little repository of quotes from people you admire, or the opposite, people you really don't admire and you want to disagree with, to perhaps offer a different point of view. And also what you can do in that impromptu speech is draw an analogy. So draw a metaphor, comparison. So if you do all this imagery, the comparisons in there, so like offering an impromptu speech is like walking a tightrope over a huge void. You know, you've got to keep your balance to be able to be successful. Humor, do not underestimate the power of humor. If you talk especially about your personal experiences, self-deprecating humor works really well. You know, I was as clumsy as you know what, or I was as blind as a mole, or things like that. But humor is super important when you talk about a table topic, because it helps you connect with the audience so much quicker. We've talked about the storytelling. STAR is one way to do that. That's situation, task, action, result, and reflection. That works particularly well for interview questions. So, you know, tell me about a difficult situation you had to face and how did you resolve it? So that works well for this type of question. But not only that, you know, you have a mini hero's journey structure that you can follow. So what was the situation? What was the trigger? Why did you have to do something about it and nobody else? And what happened? And how did you overcome the situation to be the hero of your own little story? And one other great way to achieve your purpose emotionally with the audience is evoking the senses. So I'm talking about this 5 senses. If you're telling a story, tell us about the smell of those roses, how they felt, or how the thorns felt on your finger, the joy that you really felt inside when you were growing that rose. I'm thinking about that past table topic. So do not hesitate to use all the visual audio cues to make your story that much more, you know, penetrating. And don't forget that call to action. All right, that's for some of those sprinkles, sparkles that you need to put into that impromptu speech. Let's get to the action. And who is the next volunteer here?
I can go.
Okay, hi, Leo. So, good one.
My name is Leo.
I know. We talk. Hi, Leo. Let's see. Leo, Katharine Hepburn once said, "If you obey all the rules, you miss all the fun." Katharine Hepburn once said, "If you obey all the rules, you miss all the fun." Leo.
When was the last time that you felt guilty? So guilty that you are feeling, oh, maybe I have to go to prison. Maybe I have to face a difficult conversation with the CEO of our company. Maybe I have to tell my father what I did. Do you remember such a moment? Did it happen recently? Was it further away? For me, myself, one of my duties working in a Japanese corporation, which has a 400-year history, is to break rules. And breaking rules in a corporate environment in which everything is about compliance, being correct, being accurate, but I don't want to say that I'm breaking the rules and doing legally improper behavior. However, sometimes it's important to take especially internal rules which happen and which are too many of them in our companies and stretch them a little bit so that we can finally find the way how we can maybe apply our opinion and, in my way, especially a more effective way of collaborating. As you might know, Japanese people can be looking very much into one direction, the tunnel view, as you would say in German. And it's sometimes hard to make people look left or right. That's my task. And I would like to encourage you all, if you have the chance, and next time you are encountering a strict rule, a boundary, or something that prevents you going beyond, maybe you can stretch it a little bit so that you can finally find the way forward. Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you very much, Leo. That was a really great take on that topic, and it wasn't an easy one. So you opened very nicely with that rhetorical question, and not only that, but you really engaged the audience with all your different examples and situations. So there was definitely at least one of them that applied to somebody in the audience when it came to, you know, about prison or the CEO or telling your father. So those were great examples to get the audience to tune in to you and to engage with your topic. I like how you were then talking about your personal experience and you know, the topic of duty and so on at a Japanese company and about breaking rules. There was a nice touch of humor as well, where you were at least ring fencing the fact that you're not a criminal, you're not here about breaking compliance rules. So that was really nice. But you also provided, and that was also your opinion, and that was really important. And I think it was one of your key messages, how, you know, bringing this, breaking the rules or stretching the rules helps, you know, to have more effective collaboration and share opinions and all that. You evoked briefly the Japanese corporate culture, and I'm 100% with you on that. You know, I've lived in Japan and I can really relate to that. I think that was an opportunity where if you were to do it again, I would encourage you to use humor, especially in a sense of an exaggeration or like a hyperbole or a bit of self-deprecating as well. So you could also say, you know, for an audience who is not necessarily familiar with Japanese culture, especially Japanese corporate culture, you could say, you know, if you were to scale how strict the Japanese culture is, from 0 being very relaxed and 10 being very strict, we're about a 12, you know. So just to put a little bit of a scale in perspective on how to measure Japanese culture, corporate culture. You ended with a call to action, which was really nice, and you gave it a lovely structure as such. I think if I were to give one recommendation, it would just be a little bit more, a tighter structure. Can you tell me, like, feedback to me, what was the structure that you wanted to bring? Was it a past, present, future, 1, 2, 3, or storytelling? What did you have in mind when you started with this topic?
I didn't have a clear structure in mind. I wanted to give some examples.
Yes.
And see where it goes and make
Yeah.
a summary or make a call to action at the end.
Yeah.
But I don't know how it would look like.
Okay, so that's a bit of a reassurance for me because I was really struggling to find that structure perhaps. I loved it. And, you know, maybe if you were to do it again, use those same examples, use the same points, the same message, but package it in a structure that makes it then even easier for the audience to follow. And then you've got a home run winning speech on that. Yeah. Yoku dekimashita.
Arigatou gozaimasu.
Cool. See, Daniel is all ready and geared up for the next topic. Are you volunteering, Daniel?
Yes, I am.
Okay, he's stealing the stage. All right, I think we have time for one more topic, and then we can probably open for Q&A and wrap ups. Okay. All right. This is a little bit kind of like not necessarily just for the sprinkles and sparkles, but maybe you can take everything together, the message, the structure, and the sparkles. Yes? I have so many great topics. I don't know when. Okay. Okay, this is a really love one. You're going to love it. Daniel. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe said, "Living dangerously is the only way to live." Johann Wolfgang von Goethe said, "Living dangerously is the only way to live." Daniel.
Living dangerously is the only way to live. That is a motto that is most of the time of the year is not my topic. I'm a teacher. I'm a state official. Everything in my life is safe. My income is safe. I live in a comfortable place. And being a teachers are not well known for the dangerous lives. But what we teachers also have is holidays, a lot of them. And when I'm on holidays, I travel. And in those journeys, in those travels, in those trips, I like to live dangerously. I have been to Japan as well, but Japan is really not a dangerous place. But I've also been to other places. I've been to Russia, I've been to China, I've been to Africa, I've been to India. And in India, that's where I got lost in a jungle and it was getting dark. And there were tigers and bears and leopards and wolves in that jungle as well. But I found out of the jungle. I got out of the train at the wrong train station and I was in the middle of nowhere at 10 p.m. at night in some Indian village. Fortunately, people were very helpful and helped me. I stepped through the cover of a gully. If you want to live dangerously, go to India and you will find the meaning of what Goethe said. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Well done, Daniel. How did you feel about this? Give us a little bit your thoughts.
It was fun. It was fun. I think it suited me quite well. And yeah, I hope I will get, if I'm in a competition again, I will.
Yeah, go for it. No, definitely. A couple of thoughts on your table topic speech, on your impromptu speech. I liked how you repeated the topic in the beginning. It helped us a little bit tune into what you're going to say, and how you went right with that opinion about it's your motto or not, rather, because you talked about all the safety on one hand, about who you are, your job, what this means to you, and so on. Here you were mentioning, something about safe, your income is safe. It was missing a third, something is safe, my life is safe, anything just to make it three and sticky. That was just a detail. And then you took us the other direction about your holidays, how like it's the opposite of your normal life, so to speak. And you've got lots of holidays and you love to live those dangerously. I liked how, you brought in Japan and how it's not a dangerous country. Yeah, definitely agree with you. I love how then you went into like Russia, China. It's like you're saying Russia is dangerous for what reasons? I'm imagining, Russian mafia and guns and whatever. You could go into storytelling, exaggerating mode. But you went with the example of India, and I thought it was a lovely exotic place to take us in your stories. Are there really bears in India? I didn't know that, but it was really fascinating to hear about all the animals you encountered and the adventures, misadventures you had, and how you ended up lost in a village and relied on the kindness of strangers to help you out of that situation, which in fact is exactly what the quote is about, right? It was a little bit dangerous. It was out of your comfort zone for sure, but it really enabled you to live an unforgettable adventure, presumably on your India trip, right? And you ended up with a cute call to action at the end, like if you want to live dangerously, go to India. So that was a nice circle back conclusion to your table topic. Yeah, I think there's a potential and material for even more humor and exaggeration in there. So please feel free to, practice that and use that, because I think it will work really well for you and enabling you to win the hearts as well as the heads of the audience that you're presenting to. Yeah. How are we on time? I think we're running out of time briefly, right? So do I have to come to a close?
We have 3 minutes.
I couldn't hear that, sorry.
We have 3 minutes left.
All right, so okay, I'll conclude then very briefly. Well, time flies when you're having fun. I don't know if you guys know this guy, but this is Warren Buffett. Circling back to the initial point of like, why do we do those table topics, those impromptu speeches? Well, there's one quote that I wanted to share with you from Warren Buffett, and it's about the importance of honing your communication and presentation skills. He says, you can improve your value by 50% by learning communication skills or public speaking. So follow the advice of the ever glorious Warren Buffett. He knows what he's talking about. In your toolbox, I will send you, of course, this presentation, but I encourage you to visit a few pages, websites, have your little toolkit ready for club and contest season. Florian Mück, whom some of you may know, has a whole page about the giants of rhetoric, which are like all the figures of speech that you can plug into your speeches to make it that much more effective and memorable. He didn't invent anything, he just presented it nicely. Aristotle is probably the inventor of all of that stuff. But, think about the ethos, pathos, logos, which unfortunately we didn't dive enough into today. Will be another session. I will share with you as well, you can make yourself a little playlist with YouTube videos of winning table topic speeches that can give you some ideas as to, what was effective. So listen to them, see what figures of speech, what tools they put into practice in there. Was it a clear structure? Was it storytelling? Was the humor that won over? Just get some inspiration from all the collective knowledge that is out there. And again, practice, practice, practice. What you can get from a club environment is great. What you can get from a friend circle environment is even nicer. So form your group of friends and start playing a game, which I really recommend. It's also by Florian Mück and John Zimmer. They collaborated on creating an app. You can find it on smartphones, but also on tablets, which is super fun and interactive. And that enables you to, just have a bunch of table topics in a board game environment. And it's really great fun. And it's just really just practicing and getting those creative juices flowing. And last but not least, really believe in yourself and go for it. I love this quote by Winnie the Pooh that goes, what if I fall? Oh, but my darling, what if I fly? So really have fun with those table topics, really go for them. And please, if you have any questions, I'd be very happy to connect with you and take this topic further. And this ends my presentation. I hand it over back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Wow, we are all inspired. Dear Michaela, that was such an insightful workshop. Thank you very much. You presented us a case full of golden nuggets, treasures, stones, and we all practice them either in our mind or here on stage. And you gave us also very useful feedback. And I hope that some of the people who practice today will be participating in the club contest and will win it and go forward. And perhaps one day we will meet you, Michaela, also on stage and listen to your speech, or perhaps even have a competition with you. I would enjoy that very much. Thank you very much for being our workshop leader and being our guest. If you like, you can stay for the second part of our meeting today. We are going to have a short break for socializing, drinking and eating sweets after such an excursion. What time shall we meet for the second part? It is now. We have 6 minutes. Okay, so in 6 minutes, we are meeting here again on stage. Michaela, thank you very much. Have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
I want to stay.
But you're going to stay?
Yeah.
Great. Appreciate that.
I don't know if you guys have the feedback forms. If somebody can collect them, scan them, give me some ideas for improvement, I would much appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, we'll take care of that. Thank you. See you later.
Leo, perhaps you want to stop the recording?